I'm going to show you how to make 3 different mini heart cakes, so that whatever tools and cake decorating experience and time you have, there will be a style that works for you. These mini cakes are just the right size for a single person or to share with someone special. For all 3 styles, you'll need heart-shaped cake layers, which you can cut out of any shaped cake using a cookie cutter. This is a 9 by 13 inch rectangular sheet cake, but round cake layers work just as well. It's easiest to cut cakes when they're cold, so after this cake cooled, I put it in the fridge for about an hour, and now it's sturdier and less crumbly. You'll need 2 or 3 heart-shaped cake layers for each mini cake. If the large cake layer you cut your hearts out of is quite thick, like mine is, you can flip the hearts on their sides and cut through them with a serrated knife to make 2 cake layers out of each one. To assemble your cake, pipe or spread a dot of frosting onto the middle of a plate or platter or cake board. Place your first cake layer on the frosting, pressing down to attach it. This first style of cake is a naked cake, and it's the easiest and quickest to make. You can use any piping tip, and I'm going to show you a few ways to use a star-shaped piping tip, like this 1M tip. I'm piping little star shapes in between the cake layers of this cake, and I'll demonstrate some other textures on the next cakes. After each layer of filling, line the next layer of cake up to make sure it's directly above the previous layer before pressing down gently to secure it to the frosting below. You can pipe another layer of frosting on the very top of the cake, but I like to leave it plain so the heart shape is really clear. An even quicker way to pipe filling onto a naked cake with a 1M tip is to pipe the shape of the heart like this, and the tip gives the filling some nice texture without adding any time at all to the decorating process. I'm using my 4-minute buttercream for all of these cakes, and the recipe link is in the top of the screen and in the video description. But any frosting will work, like whipped cream or meringue buttercream or ganache. These little waves of frosting are another pretty way to use a 1M piping tip for the filling between the layers of a naked cake. When you pipe the filling, start with the outer edge of the heart, because that's the part you want to be the neatest, since it's the only part that will be visible once the cake is assembled. Then fill in the part in the middle and place the next layer of cake on top. If you're enjoying this tutorial, please click the thumbs up button to like it, and subscribe to my channel for a new cake decorating tutorial every week. I'm putting all of these naked cakes onto the same platter, securing each one with a dot of buttercream to hold it in place. Put these in a Tupperware in the fridge, or any box with a tight-fitting lid, until an hour before you want to serve them. If you want to frost the outside of your mini heart cake, here's a way to do that without a turntable or a frosting smoother. Attach your first layer of cake to a plate with a dot of buttercream and then spread or pipe on your filling. This isn't going to be visible, so it doesn't need to be neat. Assemble your cake so the layers are straight above each other and it's not leaning to one side. Now put this in the freezer for 15 minutes to firm up, and then it will be much easier to frost. While it's chilling, prepare your frosting for the outside of the cake. If you're using buttercream, having a loose consistency is essential to your success with mini cakes. You can see this is very easy to stir and has soft peaks. I've added more milk than usual to this batch. Once your cake is chilled, spoon a dollop of frosting onto the top and spread it all the way over the edges to prevent air pockets later, and then smooth it with an offset spatula, or you can use the back edge of a knife, or even the back of a spoon. Spread the frosting around the sides of the cake too. This frosting doesn't have to be perfectly smooth and neat, but it does need to completely cover the cake to trap any crumbs that might come off the cake, so that those stay in this coat of frosting, which is called a crumb coat, and they don't get into your final coat of frosting. Smooth the frosting as well as you can, and follow the shape of the heart, indenting the dip between the 2 bulges of the heart and making a sharp point at the bottom of the heart. Put the cake in the fridge or freezer to set this coat, while you tint your final coat of frosting, which is going to be pink for my cake. The crumb coat will only need about 5 minutes to set if you chilled your cake before frosting it, and once it's firm to the touch, you can spread on your final coat of frosting. Completely cover the top of the cake and the sides so that there's no crumb coat exposed. Get it as smooth as you can with your offset spatula or the back edge of a knife, and then use either of those, or the back of a spoon, to indent texture into the cake with these little swishes up the side of the cake. I love this technique because it covers up any imperfections in the frosting, and it's totally random, so you can't really go wrong. You can leave the rugged texture at the top of the cake, or tidy it up by scraping sideways with your offset spatula or knife. And there's the heart! You can add some sprinkles to the top to outline the shape if you like, and tidy up any frosting smudges on the plate by wrapping a finger in a paper towel and gently wiping around the cake. You can add sprinkles around the bottom of the cake as well to make a border, pouring them onto the plate around the cake and then pressing them against the frosting with an offset spatula or spoon or knife or even your hands. Ta-da! This cake is so quick and easy to decorate, it doesn't break my heart that you can eat the entire thing in 1 minute flat. For super smooth frosting, you'll need a cake board, a turntable, and a frosting smoother. Attach your first layer of cake to the cake board with a dot of buttercream, pipe or spread your filling between the layers, and then chill the cake in the freezer for 15 minutes. For the frosting, add milk if you're using buttercream until the consistency looks like this, and spread the frosting all over the cake to give it a crumb coat to trap any crumbs that come off the cake, so that your final coat of frosting doesn't have any crumbs in it. Let the crumb coat set for a few minutes in the fridge, and then cover the top with frosting. Smooth it out, and then move down to the sides. Being generous with how much frosting you use makes it easier to smooth it next. For the final coat, I like to do half of the heart at a time. Otherwise the cake can turn into a blob of frosting and it's impossible to tell where the pointed tip of the heart is and where the rounded parts are. As you smooth, spread more frosting over any air pockets and scrape around the cake again with your frosting smoother until the sides are smooth. Tidy up the top edge and wipe any smudges of frosting off the cake board, and if you want to add some quick extra details, fit a piping bag with a small star-shaped tip, like this number 32 open star tip. For the bottom of the cake, I'm piping little waves of frosting, just like I did for the filling of one of the naked cakes, squeezing the piping bag and letting the buttercream fold over itself before pulling the piping bag backwards to form the peak of the wave, and then overlapping that part slightly with my next wave. This makes a simple cake suddenly look intricately detailed, and it covers up any imperfections at the bottom of the cake. You can do the same thing on top of the cake, or try a rope-style border, where you pipe little circles of frosting that overlap each other to make a border around the top edge of the cake. Try to keep the same distance from the edge of the cake all the way around. So, whatever cake decorating tools you have, and however much time, patience, and experience you have, I hope you'll incorporate one of these cake styles into your next Valentine's Day or anniversary, or make one for a friend or family member to show them how much you appreciate them. If you're looking for more cake decorating styles and techniques, check out my online cake school on britishgirlbakes.com, and join my club to get access to all of my online classes. Thanks for watching!